Erika, what is a giant foundling?
I'm glad you asked that, Amy.
Welcome back to D&D Beyond. Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants is almost here, and with it, new feats and backgrounds that link together to provide endless ways to make new giant-flavored characters. So I talked with Erika Ishii and Luis Carazo from our upcoming Gen Con Bigby's themed game, all about these giant-sized feats and the giant foundling background and how together they can do some cool things for our characters. Erika, what is a giant foundling?
I'm glad you asked that, Amy. A giant foundling. Though you aren't a giant, you grew up among giants. Maybe you were an orphan taken in by a sympathetic family of stone giants who raised you as one of their own. Or perhaps you lived in a lost prehistoric pocket of the world, surrounded by giants and fearsome behemoths or hulking dinosaurs. Something about your environment, perhaps the food or water that sustained you, elemental magic inherent in the site of your home, or some verdant blessing of growth placed on you, cause you to grow to a remarkable size for your kind. With the aid of this magic, you have learned how to embody the might of giants. You are used to moving through a world much bigger than you, and that is reflected in your skills, attitude, and perspective on life.
Luis, what would be fun about playing a giant foundling?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Immediately when introduced to the setting, the first thing that came to mind that I thought would be cool to explore is what it means to be a giant, but in a small body. So I'm really curious about exploring some of the smaller folk, maybe like a fairy or a halfling or a gnome, and seeing what about them can also be giant. And whatever way that can mean. I've been looking through some of these giant foundling feats and traits and stuff. So, there's definitely a lot of inspiration to pull from in here. That is really exciting.
I love that, and of course, those experiences can shape you as backgrounds always do, but also in this case, add some really fun flavor with those feats. Before we get to the feats and power, of course, you're going to get your intimidation and survival proficiencies. You're going to pick up giant and another language. You're going to have some stuff that reminds you of that home. And you might have an origin story. Erika, do you have a favorite from this table?
Now, I tend to enjoy, like making up my own weird origins, but I really like how after you had a series of strange dreams as a child, your superstitious parents sent you to study with a powerful but aloof storm giant oracle. And it's just, your classic weird kid that gets sent off to boarding school.
There is something about sort of being like, you've got something going on. We're going to send you to an equally weird person and see whether that helps or makes it worse, but probably helps you grow into a cool adventurer. And of course, when you're building that giant foundling character, you get some suggested personality traits that come from that. I think it's a really fun combo of like, you are bigger than you kind of ought to be, but you also feel really tiny, and that's just fun. So my favorite from this table is number 1. What I lack in stature compared to giants, I make up for with sheer spite.
Yes, that's also my favorite one. Yes, because we all know people like that. Sometimes we are people like that.
Sometimes we are. But of course, you're also going to channel that giants into fun, crunchy stuff. You're going to get the feat Strike of the Giants, which is, of course, then going to make you eligible for a set of these 6 4th level feats that take you down the paths of the different types of core giants. But what do we get right away? Luis, could you tell me, what is Strike of the Giants?
You have absorbed primeval magic that gives you an echo of the might of giants. When you take this feat, choose one of the benefits listed below. Once per turn, when you hit a target with a melee weapon attack or a ranged weapon attack using a thrown weapon, you can imbue the attack with an additional effect depending on the benefit you chose.
I would love to make like a fairy who is a giant foundling, who's like extra big for a fairy, but like actually tiny in the world and thinks of themselves as tiny all the time, except that they have a stone strike. The target takes an extra 1d6 force damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed on a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet from you in a straight line, because I love the idea of my little fairy like hitting you with a slingshot or something and pushing you way back unexpectedly. And I thought it might be fun that like fairies have the fairy magic trait, which lets you do things like use enlarge and reduce. And I imagine my fairy sort of saying, they can't go to sleep anymore unless they make their pillow really, really big because they grew up among giants and all the pillows out here are the wrong size.
I actually really like that stone strike because I like what it then builds towards. As we're talking about the feats kind of are organically open up other options that you can then stack on top of them. So
let's look at that. We got a 4th level feat called Keenness of the Stone Giant. And you have to take that Strike of the Giant Stone Strike to qualify. And what do we get for this one?
Well, what I'm drawn to here is Stone Throw. As a bonus action, you take a rock, you make it magical, and then you throw it at somebody as a ranged spell attack. And you basically, on a hit, the rock deals a d10 force damage, and the target must succeed on a strength saving throw. The DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus a spell casting ability modifier of the ability score that you increase with this feat. And if they fail, then they get knocked prone. So you get the ability to like chuck a magic rock, hit them really hard with force damage, and knock them prone. And that kind of toying around with maybe maybe a ranger, maybe I don't know, maybe a druid. I'm really want to kind of see how this might come together with the cantrip magic stone.
Okay, so we're thinking ranger or druid, right? How would you do this on a ranger?
So for the ranger, you'd have to pick a specific fighting style called the druidic warrior, and if you choose that, then you get to learn 2 cantrips of your choice from the druid spell list, and they count as ranger spells for you. And you basically get to, from that, choose magic stone, and you use wisdom as your modifier. So you basically just get to be a mini druid with these cantrips.
So you've picked your druid craft is going to give you some cantrips, and one of those cantrips will be magic stone. And magic stone does what?
Magic stone lets you imbue 1 to 3 pebbles with magical energy, and what it does is when you then use it later as an attack. So the action is to imbue it with magical energy. You chuck that stone, and now it's doing 1d6 plus your ability modifier, bludgeoning damage. That to me goes perfectly well with this other feat that we're talking about, Stone Throw. That's part of the Keenness of the Stone Giant, because there, as a bonus action, you basically imbue the magic stone with even further magic. So now you have the 1d10 force damage plus the 1d6 and your ability modifier, bludgeoning damage, all combined into one big giant, theme of this thing, a punch in a tiny little stone. Perfect for a small character that's trying to find the giant in them.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we will need to check and make sure that we are within boundaries on this, but what a cool combination. And I love, like, let me look at this. You can't use the magic stone with Strike of the Giants, obviously, because that one is a weapon attack. But for this one, they are both magical ranged spell attacks. And if you and your DM are agreeing on this super rock combo, you could have a really, really fun thing. And the spellcasting ability for rangers would, of course, be wisdom. And that's one of the 3 that you can increase with Keenness of the Stone Giant. Louise!
Yes.
It's so cool! Magic rocks for everyone!
So I was looking at Cloud Strike, and the initial Cloud Strike is the target takes extra 1d4 thunder damage, and then also, makes a wisdom saving throw, or caster becomes invisible to it. So, because I love utility type spells and utility type features. So that's really exciting to me, and especially the culmination when you hit 4th level, you can take Guile of the Cloud Giant, which comes with ability score increase and something called Cloudy Escape, where if you get hit with an attack by a creature you can see, you use your reaction to get resistance to the attack's damage type and to teleport to an unoccupied space within 30 feet of yourself. And I was thinking of pairing it up with something like, you might think rogue maybe, because it's like really nimble and everything, and the invisibility aspects, but I would be interested in doing a sort of warlock with it. So because I like things that are push and pull, like a lot of controlling on the battlefield. This would be sort of specced out for somebody who like zeroes in on their target and then it just moves all around them and can push and pull them. So that's what I would kind of build it for.
Oh, that's fantastic. They're not anywhere that you're looking, and you're not anywhere you meant to be. That would be a very, very fun combination. Now, those are just 2 of the 6 different 4th level feats that represent different giant paths you might walk down if you make your character a giant foundling. And I can't wait to see what everybody's going to make with these, especially folks who might be very soon playing with us at Gen Con. Erika?
I'll never tell.
All right, we're going to have to tune in and find out what exactly they build for the live game. And I can't wait to find out what everyone is going to be building once the options from Bigby Presents Glory of the Giants are out everywhere on August 15th.